Welcome to the Finding the Magic podcast, where books come alive. I'm Tricia Copeland, a fiction author and host of this show. If you love books, finding great reads, and hearing about the story behind the story directly from the authors, this is the place for you. Whether you like fantasy, science fiction, dystopian, or romance titles, I think you'll find something to love in my playlist. Listen in to discover something magical about a book or two today. Welcome, Patrick.
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. Today we have author PS Conway. You're mostly a poet, right?
I am. It's first a little toe in the water with satire on this latest book, but most of my time I'm spending writing poetry. Yeah.
Okay, so your new release as of April 2025 is Life Sucks, correct?
It is. I giggle every time I do the title too.
Well, yeah, and I knew that this afternoon was going to be fun because, yeah, what can't we laugh about with a title with like Life Sucks?
Yeah. And it was, we really, a lot of it was written during COVID lockdown, so it was a particular sucky period in life too. So yeah, it was, it is, we'll talk about it as we go on, but there's a lot of commonalities you look at today as compared to 2020. And one of the reasons I released the book now had to do with that in particular is the trends that are repeating themselves over and over and over again in this great American society.
Okay, we'll just dive in. Tell me how the book started, what the book's about, what can we expect?
So the book is for adults. Let's start it with that. It is definitely not for kids. I like to caveat everything with that. Some adult content in the book. Um, so we during COVID lockdown, I created a blog called Life Sucks, Laugh Here. And so obviously the paraphrase was Life Sucks to get to the book. Every week during 2020, literally during lockdown, probably 42 or 44 weeks, I forget how many total. I put up a 3,000 word blog, and it was meant to just get people to laugh a little bit and just be distracted from all the insanity. You turn the evening news on, and I don't mean to laugh, but I mean the people screaming out into the night remember that all around the world to be on the evening news. And my wife and I would be punishing a case of wine a week. I think we probably put on like 10 or 15 pounds during lockdown. I mean, I don't know, we found ourselves in this great self-destructive place, but also in a pretty creative place for me. I was working for a startup company at the time, sales, and we were calling on healthcare, and healthcare was shut down. I mean, hospitals and health systems. So we were working 8 to 10 hours a week, just trying to keep a paycheck coming in the door. And I kind of took it as a personal mission to get people laughing a little bit with all the craziness that was going on, just in the world, politically, even like, and some of it is even self-deprecating humor in the book. I mean, there's definitely people will get to know kind of the me I want them to know anyway through the book a little. So yeah, it was a fun little adventure, but it was also it really intended to make people laugh and never do anything more than that. My boss finally said to me, the board told him that my site was too obnoxious and too vulgar and needed to come down. So it was like that we got into the corporate shutdown of the site at that point in time. Yeah. So but I saved all of it, and I met a publisher. So right now I'm a poet in residence for a website called the Fictional Cafe. And so with the Fictional Cafe, I try and groom and recruit poets to come in and find new talent out in the market who can kind of take more of a literary poetic journey. And this publisher and I got to know each other. He has his own indie press, and when he read, I sent it to him as a lark. He goes, "Oh my God, it's the weirdest thing I've ever read." He goes, "I don't know if it's fiction, nonfiction. I don't know if it's satire or memoir." He goes, "I don't know what to call this thing, but we've got to put it out in the world." And so that began the adventure for Life Sucks.
Very cool. So these blog posts literally became the book.
They did. And some editing to them too. We didn't want it to be just a vignette of 2020, right? So we updated a lot of it to, at the time we were editing it, it was the political intrigue of Trump and Biden and the craziness that was happening there. And then Trump and Kamala Harris, and like it just, and the Trump theme, just, the book I always talk about in the beginning of the book, the resurrection of Cheeto Christ. It's like the second reign of Trump, that as a person who had been honestly a lifelong Republican, left the Republican Party the first time around, became an independent, and actually worked with a lot of different groups donating money to try and get people like Trump out of political office forever, because it was just the book takes a more and more political bent as lockdown evolves, but the common themes that you can see in 2024 and 25 are crazy how history repeats itself. It might be even crazier. I mean, it actually might even be crazier this time around.
Yeah, it's funny because, you're pinging my memory because I think I've put 2020, 2021 in a little box.
Yeah.
And, I live in Superior, Colorado, so it was like 2020, 2021. At the end of 21, we had the fires that like ripped through our town, took out,
Oh,
1,000 houses between us and the town next to us. So it just felt like it kept going. And now what I've done is I've put all that in a box and it's like stowed away in the back of my mind.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
somebody talks about it, I'm like, oh yeah, that did happen, didn't it?
It's triggering though for people too. I've gotten some feedback, I think generally the feedback's been really good on the book, which is cool. I mean, it's because it could be a bit offensive if you take it too seriously. It's satire. It's meant to be kind of in your face humor. There's an intention to it. I think that's what makes it satire, but it really genuinely is meant to be funny and to make fun of everything and not
Right.
just people who think a certain way. So it's trying to be,
Right.
but we'll see. As it gets more market exposure, we'll see. It's definitely gotten a few people who are like very triggered by it too.
Did you have to get up a lot of confidence or courage to publish this book? Was there any like, oh no, can I really do this?
Yes. Yeah. For this book in particular, knowing how divided the US is right now, politically, particularly, there was always that fear of that kind of crazy person out there that just, believes in the gospel of Cheeto Christ and has to be out there proselytizing and shooting people at the same time for it. So there's always that little worry that there's some whack job out there that just can't take humor for humor's sake and wants to translate something that's meant to be funny and mocking a little bit and turn it more into something that's a crusade. So at the end of the day, if that's how I've got to leave the world, I guess then that's how I've got to leave the world. I mean, I felt it important enough to publish the book. I think some of the intention of the book is really out there to capture people's interest.
Right. Well, I mean, it sounds like it's perfect for a Friday night and a glass of wine with with
That
your
it is.
friends, right?
It's funny. My current boss, my current job, she's over in Switzerland for kind of an executive retreat, and that was her like she bought it to actually take it with her and read it. So I'm be interested in hearing when she gets back from this trip what she thought and how far it pushed her boundaries.
Well, super fun. Well, talk to me about what led you to writing in the first place. You said you were a poet. Do you have other books that are collections of poetry?
I do. So I didn't write all the way. I had stopped writing for 25 years until COVID lockdown. I mean, I kept journals. I dabbled here and there, but it was never anything serious. We got married, pregnant very young. We had kids who are now one's 30, one's 26. We got rolling really quick. Needed to make money. My wife had complications and no health insurance for her first pregnancy. So yeah, we needed money and money became like the priority. And then I just let writing fall to the wayside. Ironically, because I'd meant to be an English professor. So, but always an avid reader, always, especially literature, love reading good literature. Also like a sci-fi and fantasy nerd. So I read anything epic that comes out. I love it. It's my ultimate escape. But when we got to 2020, I started with actually the satirical blog. Once it got shut down, the writing kind of itch now needed to be scratched a little more. Not even a little more. I always say it's like everybody talks about they have skeletons in their closet, but mine's more like a walk-in closet with no back to it. I mean, like it just keeps going and it gets weirder and kind of, I don't know, it just gets weirder as you go towards the back more. It's almost like Narnia. You're walking into the back of it and all of a sudden you're in a woods somewhere like, what the hell happened? So I started writing a lot of poetry. Interestingly, Twitter at the time, there was a big writing community on Twitter, still is, but it's more, I don't know, they've been mollified a little bit. They just aren't as vocal or as interesting or interactive as we used to be. But built up a lot of followers during 2020, 2021. Got up to like 25,000 followers and had a network that actually started really liking my poetry. You meet publishers through that. You meet indie groups. You meet kind of these weird, interesting people that are poets. I mean, poets, we are an odd breed. I'm probably the oddest of the bunch because I'm a business person during day, poet at night. So it's like I don't know how to define myself anymore. But um, as time passed by, I started getting more and more poems published in anthologies and different literary journals online, and got the courage up to actually build my own book. Met a published indie publisher, and she loves my poetry. So like we put together a book called Echoes Lost in Stars. That came out March of 24. 24? Yeah. Yeah, because my book came out late. I'm trying to think the dates. Yeah, we came out April 25 this year with the Life Sucks. So my first book ever of my own collection of work was in March of 24. We hit #1 on Amazon 3 different times in its first month of publication, which was really cool. And then it goes into the poetry, what I like to call the poetry like limbo, where it's you sell a few books a month and you hope for the best that someone picks up your book because they never heard of it before. So you get this big blast, and then all of a sudden it becomes this, you realize what a niche market like poetry is. And that's where you kind of just, I still write a blog every week. I have thousands of followers that, come and watch. And I always find it's these kind of middle-aged people in Europe and the US that just dig poetry. And it's the 40 and 50 somethings really is kind of my market. It's the people that love my type of writing. And then so interestingly, after all that poetry, we've come full circle back to satire again, which is just, it's almost bookended by writing in the last 5 years. But now that's out. All I do right now is write poetry. I mean, I'm up at 5 a.m. and it's in my head and it's got to come out. And poetry is a big piece of my life.
Yeah, I have a good friend that's a poet, and she just was reading her poem on an online poetry meetup, for lack of and it was like open mic too.
Yeah.
So I the first time I've ever gone to anything like this, not a poet myself and never been good at writing poetry. But yeah, it was very interesting, but it was very eclectic mix of people. So I have to introduce you to them.
Yeah.
Because they had a great online presence, like 50 people in the meetup, and
Wow.
it went on for an hour and a half. I didn't stay the whole time, I have to tell you. I'm sorry. I need longer novels, but it's so interesting to me that like I was writing and writing and writing, and 2020 came, and I'm like, nope, done with that.
Really? So it's like the opposite.
Come back to it, but I've talked to like a lot of people that weren't writing started writing in 2020, and a lot of people that were writing stopped. So I think we did like the opposite of what we normally do, basically, because our brain needed something different. Maybe, I don't know.
I needed for me, it was the escape, right? It still is actually, but I don't know how to describe poetry. I always thought of myself as a novelist as I grew up, because as an English major in college, I wanted to get a PhD in literature. And I've always seen myself as a novelist. Yet I don't know what it is about these little vignettes that like poetry represent, but really my satire book too is all kind of essays and stories, and none of them are over 3,000 words. So it's a big book, but it's a lot of little stories within that book. I think 40 or 44 stories in that book. So I've kind of gravitated to a more compressed view of things and a very focused view of things. And I'm trying to retrain my brain to kind of expand that back out, right? It's like I've gone really good deductively, and now I want to kind of go more inductively and look at it. And we'll see down the road. I would, retirement's coming in a few years, I hope. And, that would be a really cool time to sit and write the great American novel I've always dreamed of doing.
Yeah, I feel like most of my books start with short stories, and then I can't leave the character alone, and it becomes like a 5-book series. So, never know.
I want to catch that energy so bad, because I hear it from my friends who are authors all the time.
Yeah.
Is like, you can't let go of characters, right? And you have to tell their story then. And I just haven't, about poetry, not writing a lot, you kind of a singular voice through poetry or point of view. I've got to find those characters in my brain. They're in there somewhere, scrambled around. Just got to free them a little bit.
Yeah, well, all I did during 2020 is watch The Vampire Diaries, so I'm not sure that furthered anything in my brain except for an escape. So,
there's a section in my new book that talks about like all the shows I've been conscripted into, and I actually like now. I'm ashamed of the fact that we watch Tiger King and like this mindless television that literally we still to this day we watch The Valley, anything Vanderpump. I mean, it's like we're
I
hooked.
know, like selling Las Vegas or Los Angeles, the Mormon wives.
Oh, the Mormon
I
Wives
I
was
had almost forgot about the Tiger King, so
that was at the time of the book. That was a big one. But it was like now it's the Mormon. You could just repeat it over again. It's just a different group now
right.
perpetuating the insanity. I mean, but
Oh,
we're
I mean,
obsessed with the Mormon Wives. We watched every minute of it. I mean, love it.
so do you have a favorite vignette in your life sex book?
Oh, there's a couple. So I always try and water it down a little for audience or for interviews like this. But it's so there's Moby Dick, right? Famous Herman Melville novel. So I wrote a new version of that called Moby's Dick. And it's about the singer Moby, and it has nothing to do with him until like literally the last sentence of it. But it is to me, it's like rewriting literature. So for me, it's fun, it's funny, it's stupid. I mean, it's very tongue in cheek. We hunted growing up a lot. Like it was like a big thing my cousins and I did with my dad and my uncles. And so it's kind of reminiscent of some of those stories too. After, instead of the white whale, it was a big white deer, big white buck that everybody was hunting. And I don't know, it's just silly and it's funny to me. I did one for my daughter about menopause. So I always said it's not fair that women get menopause. And like, I'm definitely going through menopause right now in a lot of different. I'm sweating right now. I have no reason to be sweating talking to you, but I'm sweating. Um, and I used it through the lens of Severus Snape from Harry Potter. So my daughter, when she was growing up, she and I got every Potter book that came out as it came out, read it together. And like, it was just a thing we did her whole childhood because she grew up right during the Potter like revolution and stuff. So Severus Snape, I always loved how snarky and awful he was, and just looking down the end of his nose at everybody. And I'm just like, ugh, that's a brilliant image of menopause right there. He was in the middle of it, and so am I. And so that was one of my favorite stories I wrote in there too. It's pretty funny. Then things get a little political. A lot about, I really kind of coined a term called COVIDiots. And during COVID lockdown and stuff, these, Brandons and Buffys out in the world, out partying and giving their grandparents COVID and killing them. And like just the things you would see on TV. Like there's a lot of very blunt humor around that. There's one where, 10 Reasons I'm Better Than You, which is meant to be tongue in cheek. Like, it's terrible. It was a running joke with my daughters for years. I was going to write a book called 10 Reasons I'm Better Than You. So it was like a little chat. It's like a preview of that book, but there's like 10 sections to it. And it's, again, satire. It's meant to be tongue in cheek. But it's pretty dark too. There's definitely some dark humor in it.
Yeah, me and my friends started a walk gang too during COVID. So now we actually have a chat group called Walk Gang. And I'm like, I think we really need to take this to another different name now.
I
But
love that
yeah,
though.
it's like all the things you said to yourself to make yourself feel better about that period in time and what crazy things you were doing to try to survive, right?
I mean, I don't know. My wife and I, it's so funny because we remodeled like the whole inside of the house, built a home gym in one of the daughter's bedrooms that were out of the house. So we had kind of like this fitness commitment. And then the second piece of it was this drinking commitment we had. And we found these online stores and we're getting crazy good prices for some really decent Napa wine. And so we were shipping in a case a week. And I mean, we had fun. Definitely the workouts got a little more intense after lockdown.
At least you didn't decide, like we have rocks around all our landscaping, and we decided that, we'd never redone it since we bought the house. It was like 15 years. So literally we had a grate and we picked up all the rocks and shook all the dirt out of them and put them all back. If you can imagine, that took like 3 months during the summer.
That is, you're bored when ... right?
Right, yeah.
But
And
hey,
now
probably that's fantastic.
we're like, what did we would only pay someone again to do that, right?
It's funny you say we just actually wrote that check for someone to finish our landscape. It's been 20 years sitting there. It just needs to be gutted and put back in.
Fun. Well, it doesn't sound like there's a major theme in this book, except helping people laugh at themselves, right?
And also laughing at me, help, showing it's okay to make fun of yourself a little bit too. What did someone say? They said it's kind of like a trip into Jonathan Swift, except with colonoscopies. Because I've had ulcerative colitis since I was in my 30s, and it's pretty well managed, but there's moments that it's horrible. And so there's definitely some kind of almost bathroom humor in it because I don't know, when you live with UC, like pooping is just a thing and it's funny and it's vulgar and it's gross, but a lot of people bring up the colonoscopies who've read the book, and there is a friend of mine's wife at the time and she's almost 70 years old, never had a colonoscopy. I'm like, oh my God, you poor thing. And so I gave her like all this fake advice is how to make hard eye contact with the anesthesiologist. And it's bad, but it's funny too. And it's just making fun of parts of my life I've gone through, and just taking a little bit of your own stuff and making it available for other people to realize we all have stuff to deal with. And it's kind of okay to make fun of it once in a while too.
Right. Um, that would have taken me, I probably didn't get to that point until I was like 40 maybe, when I was like, okay, now I'm just who I am. I'm not going to take myself too seriously. And really by this point, I'm not changing. So
Yeah. Right. I totally get that. I agree with it completely. I know I'm becoming that, like, you kids get off my lawn, like, old guy. I'm becoming like I am becoming that person, and I'm trying so hard not to become that person. But the character I write through in the book has that kind of vibe to him a little bit too. That PS Conway, it's a me, not me. It's an exaggerated me, an angry kind of frustrated person in existential crisis. I mean, there's just that sense of existential crisis through the whole book.
yeah, I think we all went through that in 2020, but I'm also picturing the older guy from Dennis the Menace cartoon, right?
Totally, totally that. Oh my God, I wish I'd thought of that. That's perfect, actually. That's the curmudgeon, right? A little bit, just kind of grumpy and like you've been through life and life stung you and nobody can tell you anything because you know everything kind of person.
But he loves Dennis, so.
Exactly. As long as there's a little love undergirding all of it, I think it makes everything okay. It makes it more palatable anyway.
Awesome. Well, you have made my afternoon. Tell everyone where we can find you and your book.
Okay, cool. We're distributing through Ingram Spark, so we're basically anywhere you shop for books, especially online. I don't think we're hard copied in a lot of like Barnes and Noble, but you can get the book certainly through Barnes and Noble online, Kobo, Amazon, Goodreads, name the site, Apple Books, Google Reads. I mean, there's everywhere online you can find the book. If you just look up Life Sucks PS Conway, it's super searchable now. Everything's kind of optimized over the last 3 months, so it's super searchable now. There's, if anybody ever wants to just for free, not have to spend money, but just want to know me, know my writing, poetrybyps.com is one of the websites I maintain every week. I put new poetry up every week. My author book page also is psconway.com. That's a little more bloggy and a little more humor oriented just to promote the book right now. But it's getting a lot of laughs, and that's been fun too, because I could kind of extend the thinking of the book now in modern, make it a little more contemporary to today. So I'm starting to do some of those things when I have the time to do it on the weekends.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah, I'm buying your book. It's going on my coffee table, so I'll just pray my dog doesn't eat it, and then we'll be good.
It'll give him indigestion for sure if he does.
Yeah. Well, he's already had 2 stomach surgeries, so
Oof, yeah, don't let him eat the book. Poor thing.
No, I'll have to put it on the mantle when I leave. But anyway,
one of the things you'll love when you read the book is I write a whole section about my wife is obsessed with baseball, and I've never quite understood baseball. Like I always like the spitting and and I played too, but it's like when you pro baseball is like you always wonder if it's like golf. Are they really athletes? I mean, you look at their fitness and they spitting and they're eat and chew and. But in that section, we named our dog after the Cubs' famous broadcaster, Harry Carey. So it's Harry Carey Conway. So there's a whole homage to my dog in the middle of the book that, like, anybody who loves dogs, you'll get that 1,000%.
Well, I think dog ownership probably has gone up by 1,000% since COVID too. So.
Oh God, totally. And he's turning 9 in a couple weeks, and we just can't even believe it. It feels like we got him yesterday, and he's just now that he's becoming like me. He's becoming this grumpy old man. Kids next door playing in the yard. He hates it. He just barks. He is an extension of me.
Well, we're going to wish you and your dog the best. Thank you very much for being here. PS Conway with Love Sucks. And hopefully you will come back when you publish your novel or your next poetry book.
I would love it. Thanks for having me, Trish. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Finding the Magic podcast. I'm your host, author and podcaster Tricia Copeland, and I love getting behind the scenes. If you like the podcast, make sure to subscribe and stop in each week to discover new authors and books. Thanks for listening, and until next time, keep finding the magic.